So this is part 2 of Water Never Hurt a Man. This time the boy bent seriously to business, and this time John realized how it was to be hurt. At the third blow something burst loose in his inside, and he screamed. He was crying madly. The other boy was heavier, but John squirmed over on his back, and as the brown hand came down on his face, he caught it in both of his and bit with all the strength of his jaws. The hand had a slippery, muddy taste, but in a second it was warm in his mouth, and there was a sick, salt warmth on his tongue. The boy struck him once in the eyes and once on the nose, but John held on and bit. Then the boy howled and tore loose and ran back. There was another stroke of lightning, and John saw him doubled up, holding his hand to his mouth, and he got stiffly up, turned his back to the thunder, and saw his father bent over the other boater, taking off his shoe. John walked up to them. His father's face was bleeding a trickle of blood from the right eye into his beard, but he was grinning. "I'll take this boot for a souvenir," he said. "How'd you come out, Johnny?" "Oh, pretty good. I guess that other fellow won't be bothering us no more," said John, examining the fallen man. He lay half-stunned by the water's edge, a smooth, big man, with frightened, pale eyes, and one crumpled arm was in the water. John's father looked at the man, and then at the boot he had in his hand. "I ought to mark him by the rights of it, but he ain't worth the work. The way he laid down, who'd have ever known his name was Buller?" Buller! John gazed up admiringly at his big father and studied how the blood ran from the outer corner of the eye and lost its way in the black beard which the rain had soaked. His father had licked the western bully proper. "Hey there!" The hail came in a thin, cracking voice. Turning, they saw the lock-keeper, white-bearded, peering at them from under the battered umbrella he held with both hands against the wind. The tails of his nightshirt whipped around the tops of his boots. "Hey there, you! There'll be some down boats by pretty quick, so you want to hurry along now while the level's right." John was aware of his father standing looking down at him. "Shall we tie by where we be?" asked his father. John felt pains coming into the back of his neck where he had been pummeled, and his knuckles ached. "We can stay here a spell," said his father. "The storm's coming on again. There will be bad lightning, I make no doubt." As he spoke there came a flash, and John whirled to see if the other driver boy was still visible. He was proud to see him sitting by the towpath, nursing his hurt hand. John did not notice the thunder. He was elaborating a sentence in his mind. He made a hole in the mud with the toe of his boot, spat into it, and covered it, the way he had seen his father do at home on a Sunday. "Why," he said in his high voice, eyeing the old bacchanola, "I guess them poor Bezabor farmers will be wanting them plows for the spring plowing, I guess." "Me, I'm kind of tuckered," said his father, raising his shoulders to loose the wet shirt off his back. "And the rain's commencing, too." John said importantly, "Water never hurt a man. It keeps his hide from cracking." His father jumped aboard. He took his horn and tooted it for the lock. John ran ahead and put back the other boat's team and cried to their horses to go on. They took up the slack wearily, and presently little ripples showed on the Boccanola's bow, and the lantern showed the shore slipping back. On the stern, George Brace blew a blast for the lock. The old lock-keeper was standing by the sluices, drops of water from his beard falling between his feet. The boat went down, and the horses took it out. Ahead, the team and the boy left the lantern light and entered once more the darkness. The rope followed, and once more the Bocanola was alone with its own lantern. Presently, though, in a stroke of light, George saw his son beside the boat. "What's the matter? Hey there," he asked. "Say, Pa, will you chuck me your bullwhip here ashore? Them horses is getting kind of dozy. They need soaping proper." "Where's your whip?" "I guess I left it a while back. I guess it was in that kind of scrummage we had. I guess it needs a heavier whip anyhow." I guess a man couldn't spare the time going back for it." "Sure," said George. He reached down and took it from its peg, recoiled it, and tossed it ashore. The boat went ahead, slowly, with a sound of water and of rain falling and of